for questions. Before I open the floor, I have a question for the panel, probably a couple of questions for the panel. First one is, a common thread that we have seen is that most of them saying that there is a challenge in terms of experience and the talent pool in India. All the same, they are growing their engagements in India. So maybe our audience would be very interested in hearing from you. What are the strategies you're adopting to ensure that you get the level of expertise into these pools of people that we have in India as quickly as possible? Can we start with you, Alok?
Yeah, actually we use different strategies to do that. Number one, lot of exchange of people coming to India and from India going back to where the work is, or the client or the internal client for whom they are doing the work. So we have engineers, we probably, at a given time, we probably have anywhere from, if I give you an estimate, there are about 700 engineers in India who are probably working for JCI, whether in our joint venture, our own, wholly owned, or our vendors. And out of that, probably 100 of them always are in North America or in Europe or more. So that's how we bring them up, and then when they come back, they bring the knowledge here. In addition, we have constantly people coming here. We have training programs in processes and other things, which we do it both on-site and remotely. We have computer-based where we can provide that training from there. And then, of course, a lot of time we have now started doing full projects here for products, whether it's for India or for other Asian countries. And that's how we basically, rather than right now there's a project going on for one of our OEM customer in North America, which has been done out of Australia, and there's a chief engineer who came from North America over there, and the rest of the team is from India working on that project. So there's a lot of different ways we do it.
Thank you, Alok. Anil?
Yeah, I guess, first of all, I agree with what Alok just said, but a couple of other points I'd like to add. You know, there simply aren't any shortcuts, right? I mean, so sometimes you just say, we're going to progress from low complexity work to higher complexity work over time. So you start off with stuff that you can segment and send off to a remote location, and then gradually build up capability over time. The other thing that, frankly, we struggle with is that this is sort of, I'm pointing to a weakness of ours in some sense, is that in many cases we have people that have been with Delphi for a very long time, and they have all the knowledge inside their head, not necessarily documented out in the written procedures or processes. So our challenge is to be able to transfer that knowledge from inside the brains of many good engineers and sort of ship it out to the remote locations. And we try to do that obviously by having people travel back and forth, but also increasingly we're focused on trying to document the design processes and the various processes so that we can send them overseas and have people adopt them quickly. And finally, and I think related to the last point is you want to have a steady stream of people being trained at our mature technical centers around the world so that they are able to touch and feel the products as opposed to just deal with the conference calls or see unigraphic files of the objects, but actually to see them and also to see them being manufactured in a plant.
Thank you, Anil. One more quick comment, of course, is that this challenge in terms of capturing all the knowledge that the 30 years plus engineers have around the world. We've been involved in a project where we could capture that first into a computer system as a knowledge database before it gets transferred to countries like India. That's one way, one additional way that people have been in a position to do a lot of knowledge transformation. One other question I have for the panel is that we've also heard that some of the companies on the panel today have had experience of doing both captive as well as vendor-based engagements in India. And especially we heard Tom saying that after having grown the captive to about 145 full-time engineers, he's now developing a vendor-based offshore development center. Tom, could you share with us your experiences captive versus developing your offshore development center?
Sure. We've got 125 engineers in our captive, and frankly, we've been finding our recruiting costs going up significantly as we try to get over 120 engineers. So we've kind of reached a natural plateau, and I don't know if that means, that's the plateau of interest for a company our size, or what that means, but we certainly saw a very clear and distinct increase in recruiting costs as we try to grow our captive center to be more than that level of people. So it made sense for us to then go to the natural next step of having what I call the hybrid model, of having a combination of a captive center and a third-party center as well, to have two sources and two pools of talent to bring to the party in terms of creating product.
Thank you. Praveen, your experience has been more of third party, right? You don't have a captive right now.
We don't have a captive in India, but we do have captives in other parts of the world, like Poland, Czech Republic, and
okay.
So we do have a lot of captive centers.
Good. Can we through the audience, and please identify yourself, make the question short, so that we can have many questions.
In the IT industry, we're looking at software going as software SOA architecture, which is software as a service. Do you see, perhaps I'll ask Tom the question, do you see that trend also beginning to emerge in the design industry? Do you see that core processes might be outsourced in terms of design will become a service, where bidders will design parts of the vehicle, for example, and then come back to the core processes and go out in simpler architecture?
Actually, no, I don't see it happening that way, mainly because, as Vikas noted in his slides, engineering is kind of the center of the basis of companies that produce products. And so there's an entire value stream that has to be understood by the engineers so they can be an integral part of delivering that. And I think one of the things that's been a struggle for groups in the IT industry to move into engineering is the IT was mostly based on transactional type of arrangements. And that's actually how we ran our captive center for a very long time. It was all very transactional, doing CAD work. The engineers would get a CAD request, they complete it, send it back to either Europe or North America, and it was on to another project. And that doesn't work when you get into product design. We talked earlier about some of the challenges of getting the engineers up to speed for automotive and understanding the automotive space. Testing and prototyping are very integral to the engineering process.